Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Pakistani child rights activist Malala visits the president. Officials of Malala Foundation fault Nigeria's education policy, says country has the worst figure of out-of-school children. Army hierarchy calls for patience, refuses to put time frame on the war against terror. And a Ukrainian military aircraft brought down as fighting with pro-Russian separatist rebels intensifies. Well, all our top stories can be found on our website, ChannelsTV.com, and on YouTube.com/channelsweb. Do visit m.channelstv.com if you want to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. And please interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android, iOS, and Windows 8 platforms. If you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. Now, the channel's Eyewitness platform has, since its inception, generated a huge and successful following from you, our viewers. This is because your contributions have opened doors to change, and those who need to know have acted on them. Our correspondent, Oreoluwa Shonibare, now reports.
Neglect is a failure to care properly for something. And our Eyewitness report today focuses on images sent in by our ever-vigilant reporters over abandonment. This video, sent in by Malala from Ibadan, in Oyo State, southwest Nigeria, is an indication of the need to urgently address the drainage systems across the country. These pictures, sent in by Adam, show the dilapidated structure of the once glorified Birabi Memorial Grammar School, Bori, River State in south of Nigeria. Established in 1954, the school is a shadow of its former self. Another clear evidence of neglect. Also deplorable is the Arochukwu Ohafia Federal Road in Abia State, which Samuel claims has been abandoned by the contractor. Not surprising. This leads us to our story of the day. Sheriff expresses his sadness through this image of the access road in Palm Street Extension in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, which is caving in due to erosion. Channels Television followed up to get the residents' feelings, which was short of praise for the authorities.
It's more than 40 years. Them no put hand, them no do anything. Here to here, them they snap this place. They don't do anything.
2 accidents that happened here. If you see that edges, a truck jammed that edges with the taxi driver, and it got badly damaged.
The authorities should take seriously the need to be accountable, and then to take the partnership of your contributions and Channels Television to make it happen. Oreoluwa Shonibare, Channels Television News.
The federal government has constituted a committee to mobilize resources and administer appropriate support to victims of insurgency and Boko Haram attacks in the country. Known as the Committee on Victim Support Fund, it is to be chaired by former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma, with renowned banker Mr. Fola Adeola as deputy chairman. A statement signed by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Anyim Pius Anyim, indicates that other members of the committee include former Zenith Bank Managing Director Jim Ovia and Chairman of Koscharis Group, Cosmas Maduka. The committee's terms of reference include to develop appropriate strategies for fundraising, to ascertain the persons, communities, facilities, and economic assets affected by Boko Haram terror activities, and to assess and determine the appropriate support required in each case. The committee will be inaugurated by the President on Wednesday, July the 16th, in the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Kenneth Minima, has appealed to Nigerians to be patient with the military in its battle against insurgency in the country. General Minima made the appeal at the third quarter conference of the Chief of Army Staff, noting that the Army is reappraising its strategies and operational tactics, which will soon yield the desired result. Our correspondent, Amaka Okafor, has a report.
The Chief of Army Staff and other top military officers at the Nigerian Army Quarterly Operational Conference in Abuja. The event, according to the Chief of Policy and Plans of the Nigerian Army, is for the Army to reappraise itself and strategize for its many operations, especially in the fight against terrorism.
The conference will avail the opportunity to appraise the performance and challenges of formations on internal security operations in your respective AORs.
The Chief of Army Staff reassured that the military is winning the war against terrorism and that terrorist activities will soon be a thing of the past.
So in a few months, I think that is specific enough. I cannot give you clear calendar dates because this is war. And again, it's war on terrorism. It cannot be definitely determined in terms of concrete dates.
The Nigerian Army is performing. And I also know the expectation of the Nigerian citizen. But the expectation is rather too in a haste. We need some time. We need patience. We are fighting terrorism. We are not fighting a conventional war.
He, however, warned the officers and men of the Nigerian Army to stay clear of any act of indiscipline that is capable of bringing the military to disrepute.
As a professional army and highly disciplined and hierarchical organization, the conduct of our troops must be above board at all times. I charge all commanders to put measures in place to check acts of indiscipline and misconduct by personnel under their command. The image of Nigerian Army must and always be protected.
It is not the first time the military has promised an end to insurgents in the country, but Nigerians hope that the words of the Chief of Army Staff will come to pass in the shortest possible time. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
In what looks like a change of mind, the All Progressives Congress in Ekiti State has petitioned the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, over the result of the Ekiti governorship election held on June the 21st, 2014. The party, over the weekend, filed a petition in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, about 3 weeks after the conduct of the election, in which a former governor of the state and PDP candidate, Ayo Fayose, emerged winner. The decision of the party to seek redress in the court may have come as a surprise to many after the APC candidate in the election and the incumbent governor, Kayode Fayemi, in a statewide address, conceded to the PDP candidate and promised to work with him. Unable to arrive at a conclusive decision on the contentious issue of derivation principle, delegates at the National Conference have advised the federal government to set up a committee on the matter. This position was presented and adopted by the conference after another lengthy meeting, which also failed to agree on an increased figure as derivation. The conference has adopted the report of the committee and adjourned sitting till August the 4th. Our correspondent, Lanre Lasisi, has the report.
4 days of adjournments and meetings with no agreement in sight. Now, that was the story of the conference last week. This week, delegates resumed, optimistic that the chairman will deliver positive news on the stalemate from last week. But that was not what the chairman had to present to delegates.
We will hold the meeting on Friday, so I'm proposing that we give them another 2 hours, 1 or 2 hours, We shall meet with them in the usual meeting place to see if the issue can be resolved.
The 2 hours break stretched to almost 5 hours before the conference chairman and his team returned. The chairman then presented their proposal.
Conference therefore recommends that government should set up a technical committee to determine the appropriate percentage on the 3 issues and advise government accordingly.
The proposal was immediately put to a vote.
All those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The report was then adopted. The chairman announced the end of plenary and adjourned sitting. One of the delegates explained some of the issues that informed the thinking of the chairman and his advisory team.
Some states, even under the present arrangement of 13% derivation, are finding it difficult to pay their salaries. If you are to increase it from 13% to 15%, some states would be in greater problems.
Delegates say the decision does not mean they are unable to complete their task.
First, we've reaffirmed the principle of fiscal federalism. We've also given the framework. And above all, we've also given the principle that revenue sharing that does not go with revenue growing, will not be sustainable.
We only do recommendation to Mr. President. So we have also done the same in this particular area. We recommend it back to him to constitute a committee to discuss these issues, to come out with a tangible result. Okay. So I don't think we failed.
The conference will now resume on the 4th of August when delegates will reassemble to consider and approve the final report of the conference for presentation to the federal government. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
When the news at 10 returns, Nigerian government to raise the bar on rice production, hopes to become the biggest rice producer in 5 years. Do join us again.